Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by LegalZoom. Get your life organized today with an estate plan bundle at LegalZoom.com. Whether you need a will or a trust, since they're not a law firm, you work with an independent attorney, available in most states, to find a plan that best fits your needs. Enter AAA in the referral box at checkout. That's LegalZoom.com. And by Squarespace. Squarespace is the simplest way to create a beautiful website. Plus, with the developer platform, you can customize the code behind any Squarespace design. Enter offer code AboutAndroid and get 10% off. Squarespace. You should. And by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you all the ingredients to cook fresh, delicious meals with simple step-by-step instructions right to your door. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 2 meals free by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit. Hello and welcome to another episode of All About Android. This is episode 249, recorded on Tuesday, January 19th, 2016. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Florence Ion.
How are you doing, Studio Florence? Or podcast Studio Florence?
It's very white in here. We'll get this. We'll get this.
We'll dial it in.
Right? It's lonely without you, though. Oh. Without you, and also without Ron.
I know. Ron, last minute-ish this morning, basically said, I don't think it's going to work. It's not you, it's me, said Ron, in so many words. And he's traveling, so I understand. It's all right.
Yeah.
Whatever. We got this. We can do this. You, and the sun that is in your room, making it so dang bright, as well as our amazing guest. First time on this show, which kind of blows me away, Andrew Cunningham of Ars Technica. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, guys. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Awesome. It's great to finally get you on the show. I kind of can't believe that we haven't done this already.
Yeah, I am happy to be here. It's going to be a good time.
I warned you before the show that this show lasts about 4 hours, so I hope you're ready for that.
Yeah, okay. I'm ready.
All right, good. Good.
I have an empty bottle, and I'm good to go.
Okay, but do you have
sandwich?
chocolate-covered blueberries? Because that's what I'm hoarding today. I'm going to be eating those while Jason does the ads.
Yeah, I'm really bummed that you didn't come in today, because then I'd be eating those while I'm doing the ads too. This week, we're going to be talking a whole lot about a bunch of cool things that are going on right now. Who's making Qualcomm's upcoming Snapdragon 820 chip? Google getting in the habit of getting people actually in the habit of using Android Pay, Google Play promo codes at long last, and so much more. But let's do it. Let's get right to the news, Brian.
Ron may be gone, but all is not lost. It's time for Android News.
Good rhyming thing.
That was really good.
Good rhyming thing going there.
Little tribute to Ron, too. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, Ron loves it, too.
I was going to say, now we have the freedom to make fun of him while he's not here. So to make sure he watched the show.
That's how you do it, yes. He's been slipping a little bit. Sometimes he doesn't watch the show, and we get away with a lot. So I wonder what we're going to get away with today.
Ooh, yeah, we should do something like secret that only he would know, like some sort of mention, and then see if he watches.
I think we're destroying it now, though, because people will hit him up on Twitter and warn him of it.
It's very true. They're going to tweet him.
Totally going to watch. All right, let's do it. Flo, what's up first?
Well, everybody likes free stuff, right? I know I like free stuff. Google's got a whole new thing called Tap 10. It's all about getting you to use Android Pay. And every time you use Android Pay, you qualify to get free stuff. So right now, the promotion is running so that if you use it the first time, the second or the sixth time, you'll get some free music from the Google Play Store. But if you use Android Pay 10 times, you could net yourself a free Chromecast. This thing is awesome. It's an awesome loyalty program. It only works, though, if you get the little prompt that pops up on your app, and thus far, it has not popped up for me. So maybe Google doesn't want to give me any free Android Pay stuff. I don't know.
They probably already know if you have a Chromecast, right? Like
Well,
if you have it already, they just don't bother.
Yeah, they were like, Florentine, we gave her Chromecast at the event.
She has like 10 Chromecasts. What does she need another one for? No,
the
next.
Thing is, I got the $20 Best Buy gift card over the Christmas break. So I wonder if it's counting that, because I've been checking incessantly to see if I could get the Tap 10 because I really want to be a part of it. I want to get some free music.
So
but
that's a detail that I must have overlooked then, this whole Tap 10 thing. I went into Whole Foods the other day and I specifically used my Android Pay and I was like, cool, I'm at 1. But it's not like I got an email, that said, here's your free song. And I didn't see a thing that said Tap 10.
Really?
So,
wonder if there's Google Play credit hiding in your settings or something or other.
Yeah, maybe there is. But you're saying that there's a little badge or a thing, a Tap 10 thing that appears when it's qualified?
Well, according to the several screenshots that I've seen, it looks like there's a overlay that pops up in the app to let you know that it's working.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I haven't received yet, and I don't know if it's because I haven't used Android Pay since Tap 10 came out and maybe it'll pop up.
Yeah.
I probably should try, but to be quite honest with you, I'm running into the problem where nobody's taking NFC anymore. It's like people are the places I go are shutting down the NFC kiosks or scanners so that it's just I put my phone on there and it beeps, but then it doesn't register. It says not compatible.
I wonder. I know Google's been known to like roll stuff out in waves, so I wonder if that's just what they're doing. It's like some people have gotten it, other people will get it later, but they haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah.
Good way to incentivize 10 mobile payments in a month is actually a lot. Like when I think about using Android Pay, I mean, I've not used it 10 times yet, and I've tried a decent amount of times. So that would be a lot to use it in 1 month. But at the same time, it does exactly what Google wants, which is to kind of get you used to the process, get you in the habit of using it, of thinking about it, and then you're more unlikely to use it again. I also hope that this applies to Chromecast audio because that's what I would use it for. I'd get another Chromecast audio. I don't need another Chromecast video.
Probably not, because it looks like the pictures were of the Reg Chromecast. Also, it's worth noting that you can't make all 10 of your payments in like one fell swoop.
Right.
I believe there's like a 5 to 10 minute delay or sorts between each transaction. So you can't like go to CVS and actually you can't use the NFC there anymore for whatever reason. So you can't go to Walgreens and like buy 10 packs of gum, like one after the other just to get your Chromecast. It doesn't work that way.
So then what you need to do is you say, let's see here. Okay, Google, remind me every day for the next 10 days to go to Walgreens to get gum. And maybe that'll work. Daily, repeat.
Yeah.
So now every morning I'll be reminded to go to Walgreens to get gum.
So
there we go.
I can't eat gum. Can you please get me some bubble gum Orbit flavor, because I really like that flavor.
All right, I got you covered.
It helps give that fresh, clean feeling.
I'll add that as an extra note on my reminder.
Right, but it says you have to do all 10 of your transactions by the end of February, and then you have to redeem it by the end of March. So if you are going to take advantage of it, do it now, or you might miss out.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to redeem it, Jason. Maybe that's why it hasn't popped up yet. Or something. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because I've gotten like the Best Buy thing, for example, right? Like I used Android Pay, and I have that. It's there now, and I remember getting an email in my inbox that said, "Hey, you've been awarded blah blah blah." So I assumed that would happen when I got the song from the first purchase, but I didn't get that.
Card,
so
no.
So that card didn't appear. Maybe I'm not active for it. Anyways, get to using your Android Pay eventually whenever it opens up for your phone.
Yeah, if anybody out there is successful, like tweet me or something, because I'm really curious to see what this looks like. And also I'm jealous because quite frankly, I want to be part of the Tap 10 and I'm not right now.
I know. We could all use another Chromecast. Although Chromecast audio, come on, let me do it. Okay, so here, what else? Google Cardboard, actually. Cardboard, the team announced a new addition to the platform. It's spatial audio support in the SDK for things that shape audio in realistic ways in conjunction with kind of the action that's happening in VR. So it does things like factor into, in an equation sense on the sound that you hear, the fact that, when we are in in the world, we have our skull that separates our two ears. And actually, when sound comes from over here, it hits this ear before it hits this ear, and it's shaped, it sounds differently because it's traveling around your skull. Things like that, conditional kind of changes to the audio processing, essentially, to make things just sound more believable. Oculus does this. I'm sure the other VR platforms take that into account because it makes for a more immersive process. Also, size and material of the environment, so the way sound interacts with a carpeted floor versus a reflective surface, all that kind of stuff built into the SDK. And I'm super excited for it because I'm an audio nut, so this kind of stuff makes me happy. I don't know, what do you guys think?
And it's cheap VR.
Yeah. Well,
right. Yeah, like the rest of Cardboard, I mean, it's supposed to be used with smartphones that are out right now. So they talk in the blog post just a little bit about how they've optimized it to run on like regular smartphone SoCs. You don't need special hardware or anything. And then developers can apparently like prioritize sounds so I assume like if there's some monster in your right ear, they're going to prioritize that as opposed to like ambient sounds. And
okay.
Yeah, it's just,
there's a monster in my right ear.
Get out of there.
Just interesting ways to like work around what I'm sure is like a really strict performance limit compared to something like Oculus or maybe even like the Gear VR.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking forward to it. Go ahead and throw in. I gotta like program myself to think that I actually have to put on headphones when I do it, and I never think to do that anytime I'm doing Cardboard. I just kind of throw it in the viewer and go and let it come through the speakers. But this is more incentive to throw on the headphones, I guess, and do it. I'm excited to see what it leads to. I don't know if this also includes support for like, do 3D movies that have this kind of multi, there's stereo sound. And then there's kind of what this is trying to do, which is instead of just saying left or right speaker, is trying to do this kind of advanced computational work to make things seem stereo in all directions. I wonder if that can be applied to multi-channel audio in headphones using something like this, like taking like a 5.1 signal and somehow mimicking that in headphones. I don't know if that's actually possible.
On like a pair of like SteelSeries gaming headphones or something
right.
that you would just plug in. That would actually be really cool.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it does that. I honestly don't know, and I'm guessing if they didn't spell it out in the blog, it probably doesn't at this point. But I wonder if there's the possibility of that going forward at some point, considering this kind of computational stuff that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an SDK, so presumably developers can do whatever they want with it.
Right. Interesting stuff. All right, Florence, you were excited about this one. Tell us all about it.
I was excited. I learned about it this morning, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So Udacity, the guys or the people behind the free online university, have said that if you take one of their nano degree programs for something like Android development and you don't find a job within 6 months of your nano degree completion, you will get a full refund. Udacity is also guaranteeing that the gross income will exceed your cost of tuition in a 3-month period, which sounds good, but that kind of works out to around $7.50 per hour. Per hour.
You couldn't even get it out.
Yeah, which is below. I think it's below minimum wage in some states, which is a total bummer. So
yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at this one, right? Like on one hand, that's not the best livable wage, and I mean, depending on the opportunity, if it's an internship, but it's a paid I guess it defines what you classify as paid, employment or paid opportunity after the fact. But on the other hand, it's like, schools, and Megan Moroney on Tech News Today, we talked about this last week, and she pointed this out, and it's a very valid point. It's that there's a lot of schools that you go to that don't make any sort of guarantee. So this is something versus nothing.
That's what they were saying on the radio this morning when I was listening to the radio. So I have to preface this with, I was in traffic for 2.5 hours this morning, commuting to San Francisco, what is normally a 35-minute drive for me.
That sounds
because
fun.
When it rains here, as Jason can attest, nobody knows how to do anything.
Yep. Pretty much.
So I had plenty of time listening to the radio, and they were interviewing the founder, and he was saying that universities just have a sort of a bad track record of keeping current with education, and especially in computer science. So things like data sciences, for example, I think was one of them. He said are very behind at the big universities because it takes time to hire the faculty, to get everybody up to speed with all the new things that have happened in the last year, to get that approved into the curriculum. So with Udacity, I mean, it's $300 a month tuition for a year. So it's $3,600, and you get a little nano degree that says, I know Android programming. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of cool. Like, it's just like how I would take a writing workshop. I mean, I don't expect to make more money off of taking a writing workshop because I'm a writer.
The cool thing, I mean, like as somebody who's jumped careers a couple of times, one of the hardest things is just like finding people, like connecting with people and knowing people who can then get you like better jobs. So, I mean, again, it'll vary from case to case, like how good the job is, like how much attention you get, like how many people you actually meet. But it is giving people the chance to network a little bit, which in its way is as valuable as like the actual money that they'd be paying you. So yeah.
I mean,
but I mean, sorry, go ahead, Jason.
No, I was just gonna say Udacity has their own network of opportunities. So that basically they're presenting you with pre-made relationships that they've made to offer to their students. I think another part of the terms and conditions is that you either have to take your first offer or you forfeit the cashback offer. So if they offer you something and you're like, yeah, no, that doesn't sound very good, then you're basically saying, okay, I'm not going to get my money back, and I'm not going to take your offer, and then it's all done. So it's one of those where the details reveal a little bit more. But having said that, like, if you were going to do the Android Nano degree, which Google specifically touted this at Google I/O. Gina Trapani, previous host of the show, frequent guest, she's doing the Nano degree right now, and she says it is a big challenge, but that she's learning a ton from it. So there are plenty of reasons that you would do this anyways. And so having some sort of an extra guarantee on top of that is kind of like, I guess it's kind of icing on the cake, whether you choose to use it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I've never used Udacity. I know a lot of people who love it, but going back to the example I use of the writing workshops, I mean, that's the thing that I spend extra money on for myself, and that and improv classes. And I always think that it's totally worth the money just to edify yourself. And for a nano degree, I mean, I guess just come move to the Bay Area and you won't have to worry about getting your money back.
Eventually.
Or finding housing. Ba-ding.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's the other side of that one, for sure.
Take that one home.
Let's see here. We have an email from Jorge, I'm assuming, who's a big fan of the show. Says, the other day I was thinking / lamenting, as I often do, about the unfortunate reality of how, quotes, average people still view Android. Almost everybody formed their opinion about Android back when it was a nascent platform and the hardware was, let's face it, beep. As a result, to most people, Android is no more than the, quote, poor man's iOS, even though we know much better than that. So don't you think it's time for Google to just abandon the Android name before it gets too late? It's pretty unsalvageable at this point, in my opinion. The damage is done. I think the answer is easy. Roll Chrome OS into Android, something that seems to kind of be happening. That's my words. As they say they are doing anyway, and then rename the new system something like Google OS. Fully compatible with Android, of course, because it's a new name. It's just a new name. This would go a long way to erasing the stigma that is forever going to be stuck to Android. And I don't know. I don't know if that's an oversimplification of the scenario, but it's an interesting topic of discussion. What do you guys think?
I think
go ahead, Flo.
No, go ahead, please.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I wonder how much people think about the Android brand at all, right? Because a lot of the time you see it getting subsumed by these larger OEM brands like Galaxy and then like the LG G stuff. I wonder, like, when people buy Android phones, do they go in looking for Android phones? Do they go in looking for Samsung phones? Like, I don't know that there's like a clear relationship in people's minds between like old Android and then like a Samsung phone that you go out and buy now.
I agree with Andrew. I know just from like talking to random people throughout life, they refer to their phones as Galaxies and Droids. And they know the Droid branding from Verizon because that's what they were called before. Yeah, that's what they were called before when they first came. The first smartphones came to Verizon. They were called Droids. And now you have the Motorola Droid. So it's continued on. I don't think that Android is really considered the poor man's iOS anymore as it used to be. I think maybe in 2010, 2011, that was kind of the narrative just because iOS was new and it was first. But I think that the platform has differentiated itself enough from iOS.
Right. Yeah. And then you've
people
also
who
seen,
use it are, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah. No, you've also seen Google putting effort into promoting the Android brand specifically in the last couple of years. I mean, they advertise Nexuses more now with the 5X and the 6P than I think they ever have before. And then also they had that addition to the OEM rules where you had to add like powered by Android to your boot screen. Like it was a mandatory thing.
Yeah.
So I think they're actually working on building the Android brand and like making it stronger rather than like throwing that away. And plus they already have like a cute mascot that they can fall back on.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I don't
useful.
change it to Google iOS because they won't have the cute little robots. Like in the Nexus commercials you're talking about that are on Hulu.
Constantly,
the 6P
all the time.
Yeah, I know.
You see them like
but at
4
the very
times in a
end,
half-hour TV show.
you see the little guy like come in and go, little Android guy, he's just waving at you. He's like, come use me. Come be a part of this.
Instead, their mascot could be colorful letters. It could be.
Boring.
I know, right? Oh God, shoot me. Yeah, I don't think rebranding to a Google OS would necessarily change a whole lot either. Like, yeah, I mean, but Google does have a history of rebranding some of their properties. Android Marketplace, changed to Play Store, and I suppose we've gotten used to that. Although I still don't really care for the name Play Store, but and that was in an effort to kind of take something that was so closely kind of directed at Android as a platform and kind of take it a step back and say, actually, this is for much more than just Android devices. You can use this for other things, and I guess that's worked. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary. I completely agree with you guys. It seems like Android has really done a lot of things in the past couple of years to kind of redefine that. And sure, there's people that are going to stick to the historical view. But by and large, people that aren't on a smartphone yet, I think a lot of them walk into the store and say, I want iOS because they're so, because they have friends that have it. But I think a lot of people also just walk into a store and say, I want to get a smartphone. What kind of smartphones do you have? And they're showing iOS and they're showing Android, or rather Samsung, because to many people, Samsung is Android, So
I was going to say Samsung has really upped their marketing prowess with their phones. Like Jessica Jones on Netflix, because it's a Marvel franchise now, and Samsung has sort of like the collaboration with Marvel. Like most Marvel characters are using Samsung phones, which is that's like crazy, right? I mean, the Avengers are using Samsung phones.
Yeah, because Samsung phones do a lot of really interesting kind of interconnected things between devices, and they want to have that connectivity between each other, right? So I guess iOS does that too. So, never mind.
Just thought it's because they're, big, or they were bigger for, I don't know. Actually, that is a good point. Why would Marvel superheroes use Samsung devices over Apple ones?
Because marketing.
Yeah, well, because that
money.
maybe Iron Man just likes the S Pen. He likes to be able to like do little drawings and send them to Captain
Iron
America.
Man likes the S Pen. No, I think Iron Man's running like some like other operating system that he just made himself. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I do like in this world where this dude like uses a full bodysuit with a like sentient AI that talks to him. Like he's walking around using a Samsung phone. Like, what are you doing, dude?
I mean, at that point, I think you're right, Flo. At that point, he's obviously so wicked smart. He wouldn't be using anyone's phone. He'd make up his own phone.
It's true.
He'd have his own platform. He'd have like,
JarvOS OS.
Yes, JarvOS, JarvOS, JarvOS. JarvOS. There we go. Okay. Hey, let's thank a sponsor before we move on. I want to thank LegalZoom. I'm a huge fan of LegalZoom. I used them years ago to set up my will and testament before we had our first kid, and it was the easiest thing in the world. And LegalZoom just continues to be awesome. You should use this time to get organized yourself before another year passes. Take the time, get your life organized with LegalZoom. If you have a family, if you have assets, or maybe you own property, if any of those things and more, you should have an estate plan. Don't worry if that sounds complicated. That's kind of what LegalZoom specializes in. They can help. LegalZoom's estate plan bundles eliminate the guesswork. So they kind of take care of that, inform you on what you need to know. You don't have to figure out on your own whether a will or a living trust works best for you. Instead, you work with an independent attorney that's available in most states to kind of figure that out with you. They're going to walk you through all of your options and recommend an estate plan that offers the best solution to fit your specific needs. It can be very kind of confusing to know what you need to do, and thankfully LegalZoom can help you pick that out. Since LegalZoom is not a law firm, you can count on efficiency as well as value, and everything's on your own schedule, on your own terms. You're going to know what your estate plan bundle costs right up front, so you don't have to worry about hourly rates and all that kind of stuff that'll scare you away. It sounds expensive. LegalZoom is not that. That's how LegalZoom has become the leader in helping small business owners and families with their legal needs. You get legal help, and you walk away feeling great. So get your life organized with an estate plan bundle of your own. Go to LegalZoom.com today, and don't forget, enter AAA in the referral box at checkout, and let them know that we sent you over there. It's LegalZoom.com. Enter AAA in the referral box and let them know that All About Android sent you. Please do that. All right, let's take a look at some hardware stuff. So, Andrew,
I do not have a bunch of hardware to show off this week. I feel
so actually, before we get into this, you don't have enough hardware to show off, but you do have a review that you just posted. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, the Honor 5X. See, I've been dealing with this HTC Under Armour band all day. I've just been in a video shoot for it, so I totally forgot that went up today. Yes, the Honor 5X, which is Huawei's millennial phone, $200.
That's right. They had the whole song and dance, literally song and dance on the stage and everything about that.
Yeah, the only bummer about it was that the software was pretty blah.
Yeah, well.
And I feel bad to put it so succinctly as it was blah. But, that's the thing. It was actually pretty good hardware. Really nice 1080p screen. The camera was actually pretty good. The battery life lasted quite a bit. It was a 3,000 milliamp battery life, but it ships with Android 5.1, and I do not like Emotion UI or Emu UI or whatever. I'm just not.
Right, yeah. That was my experience with it at CES. I played with the Mate 8, whatever the flagship thing that they were showing off was, and whatever they've done to Android, you can't even install the Google Now launcher on it. That's what I like to do to OEM phones, is just Google Keyboard, Google Now launcher. I like to ensconce myself in Google software and just use that.
Weird. This phone ships with Google Keyboard on it, but it doesn't ship with the Now launcher. So it's okay.
I don't know about the 5X on mine. I couldn't even install the Now launcher. I couldn't get it to work at all.
Oh,
why would they not let you do that? How could they limit you from installing an app from the Play Store like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because they have Samsung. I think they have their two themes, so the normal one and then the simplified one. And you can download the Google Now launcher, and then when you try to start it, it just does nothing. It goes to the home screen, and that's all it does. So a little strange.
That's frustrating.
It was the same experience on the 5X. It has the easy mode or the simplified mode and the regular mode. And then I downloaded and installed Google Now launcher, and but at the same rate, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know.
Man, JJ in the chat room is saying, isn't blocking Google Now launcher common among Chinese OEMs? Honestly, I didn't know. This is the first that I'm hearing about actually blocking the install of a third-party launcher, specifically Google's third-party launcher.
I should be clear. It does install. It just doesn't. It won't do anything.
Just
once
won't
you
do
install.
anything. God, that's crazy.
Right. Wow. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it may be a thing. I don't play with a ton of Chinese Android phones. Ron Amadio, my colleague at Ars Technica, does most of that stuff for us. But yeah, this is the first time I've run into it myself.
That's frustrating.
That's the thing is Chinese OEMs are slightly new to us, and I feel like we're going to be finding all these little nuances and.
I just feel like that's always my knee-jerk reaction to anyone who says I like the hardware, I don't like the software. I was like, well, thankfully you can change most of the software, not all of it, but most of it, and you can make it kind of your own and do some things to kind of take care of that and make you like it a little bit more. But in this case, it sounds like you can't. That's really frustrating. Well,
and that's just clarification for the Mate 8. The 5X was fine with the Google Now.
Right. Cool. Well, hey. Samsung actually just scored a pretty big deal with Qualcomm to be the sole manufacturer for its upcoming Snapdragon 820 chips using the same 14 nanometer low power process, the same as Samsung's Exynos 8 octa-core processor. So this is kind of a big deal, because Qualcomm has had a different foundry that's been doing it up until now. It's TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. And I don't know, it's kind of a big deal for Samsung to kind of scoop this one up. Qualcomm's just saying on a chip-by-chip basis, they find that the best manufacturer, and in this case, Samsung is it. I'm wondering, do you guys think it has anything to do with kind of the overheating issues of the 810 that kind of plagued that chip? Maybe not necessarily all the chips overheated, but definitely the talk of everyone was fear that their 810 is going to overheat and expecting it to happen. Do you think that's why?
That might be part of it. I mean, I know, like, if you look at Apple, they're dual sourcing the A9 from both Samsung and TSMC. And I believe they're using the same process. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they're using the same 14 nanometer Samsung process as Qualcomm is apparently going to. And yeah, it's hard to say because they're also switching back to their own like custom CPU architecture. But what I really think it is just like Samsung has made a super competitive like manufacturing process, and they want like the best they can get. Like it served the Exynos really well in 2015, and I think they look at that and they say, we've got a lot riding on this new high-end chip. Let's go with the best, like most proven thing that we can find that's out there.
And to be fair, that is what Qualcomm is actually saying. They say our decision to choose a specific process technology is based on its ability to meet our design goals for performance, power efficiency, and yield. So yeah, it sounds like that's why they're choosing Samsung. I just know the 810, man, there wasn't a week that went by that a new phone didn't have the 810, and the immediate knee-jerk reaction was, does it overheat? And it just kind of was a dog, at least in the press, if not in reality, as far as that was concerned. So, I don't know.
Speaking as far as concerned.
Yeah.
I don't know about that transition. Anyway,
just go with it. Own it.
I'm just trying new things. So this is hilarious because apparently Sony still makes smartphones. And actually, if you follow my Twitter feed, this is a joke that I make all the time because
you just made
the Xperia Z5 and the Z5.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
you just made a certain group of people upset with that comment.
Well, I'm sorry, but the Xperia Z5 and Z5 Compact were announced last year and have yet to materialize in front of me.
Yeah. In the States, yeah.
I mean, I think that's mostly their US presence has always been super like lackadaisical, like really like behind all the other OEMs. Like this time they don't even have any carrier partners who they're selling this with. It's just they're selling it unlocked at Amazon and Best Buy.
Wait, Andrew, I didn't get to the punchline of the news, which is that it's coming.
Sorry.
Xperia Z5 and Z5 Compact are coming to the US on February 7th. Which, yay, it's happening. I guess you knew all that news because you wrote the article, but I am just, the thing that really bugs me is like, I remember my first Sony phone that I reviewed was actually when I was at ours, and it was a really nice phone. And so all these new nice phones from Sony kept coming out, and they were getting better and thinner, and then they just kind of stopped arriving. They just stopped, like it was just a well of water, and then it just stopped being
got
water.
all the water out of it, and it dried up.
Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of like
sudden,
thankfully they're waterproof, so they didn't.
Right.
They
Oh,
didn't
that's
affect
true.
the phones.
That's right. See, and it's kind of a bummer for Sony, like why they're not leveraging the fact that they were kind of the first to do a lot of stuff in the Android world, and then they just kind of disappeared. In my opinion, they just kind of fell off the face of the U.S. Earth for a while, the U.S. smartphone market for a while, and it's a bummer because now they're bringing this phone, but I feel like it's a little kind of late. But maybe it's not. I don't know.
I mean,
I know there are a lot of fans out there.
The Z5 Compact in particular is like so unique in that it's a sub 5-inch Android phone that uses high-end components still. I mean, they're high-end components from like 9 months ago, but they're still high-end components. And that's just like, that's not something anyone else is doing. So I think the Z5, like the regular one, is a little unremarkable, but the Compact is still
I agree.
a really interesting buy for people who still prefer the smaller handsets.
Right. And it's better than like, I think the only other company that's sort of doing that is OnePlus, because they have the OnePlus X, which uses like a 2-year-old flagship processor. But it actually performs better than the Honor 5X, which is a brand new phone. So just like put that in perspective, sometimes it's better to have an older marquee processor versus just a mid-range one.
Right.
And so to have the Z5 Compact, I mean, and people complain all the time now, like our phones are getting too big.
Yeah.
Or it's in my social circle, they are. So
And I mean, I think that with hardware power, like it's great when stuff gets faster and like more power efficient and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're at a point in Android, especially, I think, where the software, like the hardware requirements for each new version are staying more or less level because they have to keep it running on like the low end, like 512 meg RAM phones that they're selling in like China and India and places. So we're not at a place where like you need a Snapdragon 820. Like if you buy an 810 now, like fine, whatever, it's going to run
version 2
fine for like the usable life of the phone. Yeah, right. Version 2 for all the good that does. But yeah, I think that if you want a small Android phone, like, this hardware isn't exactly cutting edge. And I think there have been rumors, right, that the Z6 is going to be announced at MWC or something like that.
Which is like
right?
3 weeks or whatever after this phone goes on sale here. But in the US, you probably won't see it for another year and a half. So
Yeah, exactly.
whatever.
Right.
We're a year
But
behind.
like functionally, I think it's going to be fine for people who want a smaller phone.
Yeah, it's a good option. It's surprising that there aren't more options in that regard, kind of the smaller form factor, higher spec devices, because there's definitely demand for it, but maybe there's less demand than anybody assumes there is,
But that's why
otherwise they'd be making them.
That's why I give Sony a little crap when I do, on Twitter and such, because they do make such good phones, and I want to see more come out because I think they add to the market,
Sure.
Well, if those rumors about a new, smaller iPhone come true, I'm sure we'll see tons of smaller
I know.
Android phones.
It'll be the rebirth of the smaller phone. Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. Let's see here. So we talked a lot last week about Nextbit, and I'm getting excited.
yes,
I'm
we
starting to
did.
get emails from Nextbit about the device and when it'll ship and all that. Nextbit is actually working with Cyanogen to bring a version of CyanogenMod to the Robin at some point in the near future. We're talking a few months down the line, even after release, once the phone is available. Nextbit's co-founder, by the way, is Tim Moss. He is one of the founding board members of Cyanogen. So there is a connection there. This isn't their first kind of dance, but kind of cool because when you think about the stuff that the Robin is doing, and we had them on the show a couple of months back, and when we were talking with them about kind of the UI aspect of things, I think the word was that if you wanted some of the cloud offloading capabilities, you were going to have to use the Robin OS or the Nextbit OS on there in order to do some of that stuff. You could load a launcher, but then it would make some of that functionality go away. And I had to imagine if they're working with Cyanogen to create a version of CyanogenMod to work with the Robin, it might be an alternative option that does include those extra features, and good to have options.
That is fan service, let me tell you.
Yeah.
That's like putting Han Solo, Leia Organa, and Luke Skywalker in a Star Wars movie. I will not say what Star Wars movie. It's trying to make
which
some kind of
one?
apples to apples comparison. Anyway, and I've just been thinking a lot about Mark Hamill lately, so he's really been on. I've been reading his Twitter feed every night, so he's like seriously on my mind all the time.
We need
Sorry.
to talk more about this later, I think.
I know it's been pretty bad. Anyway,
I think it's a smart move for them, right? They're playing to their audience. Obviously,
yes,
the people who
exactly.
are
That's
willing
what
to
I meant. They're playing to the audience.
to kickstart an Android phone in 2016. Yeah, like it's going to be mostly enthusiasts, at least at first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
They're like, you don't like Google? That's cool. You can get this other version with no Google at all.
yeah. Even though people just install Google right after.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's exactly what exactly. It was Scott Croyle. I couldn't remember his name immediately, but it was Scott Croyle of Nextbit who was on the show towards the end of last year. And I think we're probably need to get it back in touch because I think we ended that conversation with when Nextbit comes out, let's get you back on. So we'll get in touch with him and do that. But yeah, options are good. And nice to know that at least if you want that cloud stuff, you're probably going to get it as an alternative with CyanogenMod. That's great.
And speaking of Nextbit, we actually have a reader email associated with Nextbit and this forthcoming smartphone launch. So the email is from Kevin. The email says, the Nextbit Robin has been mentioned several times on the show. We even named our episode after it last
That's
week.
what we do. That's what we do.
Oh, boy. So far, no one has mentioned how constantly offloading and reloading apps from the cloud would probably be a nightmare when it comes to data usage restrictions. Just wanted to bring this up because Ron seemed pretty sold on the more recent episode. I am trying to convince Ron because I am curious to see what it'd be like to use the Robin every day. And I don't think it's going to be an issue because the way that I understand it is that the Robin only offloads when it's absolutely necessary. And the way that it was explained to me at CES is that with the OS, you're probably not going to even have to worry about it until months after bringing the phone home, just based on your usage. And I think the average usage is not to pummel it with things and have to worry about that. And I think there's got to be a Wi-Fi only option to be able to do that only when you're in a Wi-Fi only zone.
Yeah, I have to imagine that there's some way to set it.
I think that's the default behavior, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about that, actually. I'm not worried
I guess
about
I'd be more worried about people with slower connections. I mean, I know that again, like the people who are going to be buying this thing at first are all enthusiasts and they're going to have like 100 megabit FiOS connections or whatever. But if as the Nextbit people say, like if this is like the future of Android, I wonder how you get around those, like people who have slower Wi-Fi at home, people in like developing countries who don't have like as readily accessible internet. Like I wonder how you plan around those sorts of things and like how you tune what gets uploaded and when it gets uploaded.
You plan really dang well. And I say this because at CES, I got the demo of the nearly done operating system, and they were running the demo off of a hotspot in the hotel room, and unfortunately it just wasn't very the connection wasn't amazing. And I saw like they were like, oh crap, we forgot to set this up before you came. And so I was thinking, like, I imagine if this were my phone, like this is I would have to make sure that before I leave the house everything is uploaded, offloaded, and updated, and just like prepared for what I need in the real world. So
yeah, I mean, at least until you can trust the algorithm, right?
Right. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of trust there for sure to know that you could let it do its thing and it's smart enough to kind of take care of it responsibly and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I have trained my regular Android phone to do that for me now. I have trained it so that it doesn't do anything hardcore when I'm away from the house and away from Wi-Fi. So when I'm not on Wi-Fi, I actually get fewer notifications than I usually would if I was if I were at home. It's not updating applications. It's very much in like a just basic usage mode. And then when I get home, it starts just kind of ramping up and doing everything that it needs to be doing. So I imagine the Robin will be the same. And like, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue because you'll be able to keep the apps on there that are really important to you. So you don't have to worry about all that stuff being downloaded.
Right.
So.
Right. All right. Hey, let's take a break before we get into the apps portion of today's show and thank another sponsor of this episode. That is Squarespace. I'm a happy Squarespace user. I've been using them for years for my own site. I know Ron has a Squarespace site. We're all using Squarespace, so you should check it out. It makes it easy to create a beautiful professional website, a simple cover page if that's what you're looking to do, a perfect portfolio, a professional blog, an online store. All of that is possible with Squarespace. And your Squarespace website. The sites look professionally designed, and the best part, no coding is required. This is the best part for me because I'm horrible at the coding aspect. So what you get with Squarespace is you get a nice list of templates based around different use cases or just different looks, and they're all super modern templates, and they're designed to be starting points. So you can pull up any of the templates, based on, are you a musician? They have templates that are perfect for that. Do you have a portfolio of art? Are you going to set up an online store? All that kind of stuff. And that's your foundation that you can then go in and use their custom tools to customize it and make it your own and make it not look like other websites out there. You can make it your own, and it's just really easy to do that. And if you're super geeky, you can actually take advantage of the Squarespace developer platform to get even further into it. You get full control over your site's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, while providing you with a JSON API to output content from the CMS. You can start with one of all of those templates and then kind of go even further in all the developer-y stuff if that's your kind of your level that you come to Squarespace with. You register as a developer and flip the developer toggle, and then you can use SFTP or Git, and then you can just start coding and get right to it. With Squarespace, mobile is built in, and all of their designs are responsive, which is a must-have nowadays. It's what makes your website look modern and great on any device. And you get a free custom domain with an annual purchase. You can also power your business with Squarespace Commerce. It's the only platform that lets you create, manage, and brand your store in awesome ways. They have a basic plan as well as an advanced plan with features for hopefully your growing business that you can do through Squarespace. And they have wonderful 24/7 customer support. I just can't tell you how much actually fun it is to put together a website through Squarespace, because I've used all the other tools back in the day. I had Dreamweaver, and I was like, oh, I could do this. It's what you see is what you get. This is easy. I know I'm not like a coder at heart, but I can just go in there and I know what it's supposed to look like, and then it ended up looking like garbage. And thankfully with Squarespace, that wasn't the case. It was just super easy, made a nice website with just a few clicks, and then over time you can customize it or check out a new template and see what it looks like over there and swap it all around. It's a fun process, and you should check it out for yourself. Start your free trial at squarespace.com. Make sure you use the promo code AboutAndroid, one word, to get 10% off and to show your support for this show. That'll tell them that you heard about Squarespace through All About Android, and that makes us happy. Squarespace, you should. There you go. We thank Squarespace for their support. All right. It is that time where we talk about apps that we load on our phone. It's called the app section, and let's do it. This first one, Flo, is something that I didn't know that I was missing. This never occurred to me, but apparently it's been on iOS for a really long time, and now Android.
Yes. And it's going to be really helpful for those of us who cover Android, because it'll make it a lot easier for us to preview apps.
I suppose so.
Yeah. So Google Play Store is now going to start offering promo codes. They're now an option in the developer console. Devs can create up to 500 codes for free per quarter with no rollover for unused codes. Codes apply to paid apps and in-app upgrades, but not subscriptions. So if you're offering a subscription to The Economist, you can't offer it. You can't offer it.
Can't do that.
So that's cool. All right, that's fine. But if you're a dev with an indie game and you want to just get people to check it out, now you can easily just be like, hey, journalist person or blogger person, can you please check this out? Here's a code if you want it, instead of sending them an entire APK file, which I know that has been sort of the pain point for some devs in the past that I've worked with.
Yeah, that's definitely been kind of the go-to method for, I made an app and I want you to check it out. I'll give you the premium version. Here, I've attached this APK to this email. Most of the time, you can judge on reputation, or you definitely have to ask yourself though, like, do I install this thing on my phone, even though it's coming in many times from a good source? Best practices say you don't do that. You don't just take an APK out of an email and install it on your phone.
Yeah, best practices say you don't do that, but
there's like,
Flo doesn't always have the best practices.
well, no, no, believe me, I mean, I've done it too, because that's just, in some cases, that's how I review your app. That's how I get a hold of your app, is you send me the APK. But I always feel a little weird about it, 'cause I'm like, I'm doing probably what I shouldn't be doing, but I'm doing it.
Is this supposed to segue into some sort of like conversation about whether or not Apple is more dev friendly or Google?
I don't know. It can. What do you think, Andrew? I'll throw that grenade in your field.
Ooh, that's a big one. I mean, I guess it depends on.
We could do a whole show on that, quite honestly, comparing and contrasting.
I mean, Apple just they just had a little. I don't know if I would call it a shakeup. I don't know if it was violent enough for that to be the word I use. But Phil Schiller is in charge of the general App Store and developer relations and stuff now. So I wonder if that's not going to change pretty soon. But I think both platforms try to implement stuff like this based on developer requests, and I'm sure that promo codes for advertising and journalists and stuff, I'm sure this was a super common request from people submitting stuff to the Play Store. So yeah, I mean, I think Apple maybe isn't always the best at listening to feedback. I think actually the app review people make developers madder than the people who actually run the App Store. But yeah, I mean, I think it's split roughly evenly. I mean, I know that's a crappy wishy-washy answer, but
that's okay.
I think as in iOS and Android, I think they trade blows a lot. And if one of them sees the other doing something successful, then a lot of the time they'll implement their own version of it.
Yeah, this really is one of those things where I never knew that I missed it until I suddenly read that. I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Why didn't we have that before? So, and I guess I don't understand the back end of things, and it's very easy for me to say that would have been really easy to implement because I don't understand the back end. But still, I'm really surprised it took this long now that I know about it. Seems like a no-brainer. Another kind of cool thing that Google is doing right now on a small scale right now, so it's not rolling out to everyone, but inside the Google app, if you do a Google search for an app, let's say, you do a search for one of your favorite apps and you process that, right now you'll get a search result. Most people will get a search result that allows you to tap it and it'll take you over to the Play Store to install it there. But there's an experimental feature that is actually pulling up just an install button. You can install it right from your search result and not have that extra step of going to the Play Store and doing it through there. Is this a good move? I mean, it does. As we were talking about this earlier today on Tech News Today, and Megan's point was that, well, don't you like to read up on an app before you install it? And I mean, that's a pretty good point, right?
No? I just install APKs. Whatever. Look, I don't have time to go into the freaking Play Store and type in a name. Just look something up, okay?
There are best practices, and then there are Flo's practices.
Yeah. Go to the search bar, type in. Dang it! I forgot to download Snapchat on this review phone, so I just go to search bar, type it in, and then I just it's amazing. I don't have time for 7 screens of security. Just let me live dangerously.
And live dangerously you shall.
Although I appreciate those who take caution with their phones.
I mean, my answer on the show was different situations call for different things, right? Like if I'm doing a search for the Yelp app, or whatever app I already trust, I don't need to read the reviews, and it would be nice to be able to just click. But if I'm
you know Yelp is evil though?
I don't know. It's also helpful.
I know.
It's a helpful type of evil
I know.
sometimes. Wait a minute. What am I missing? What's so evil about Yelp? I'm curious.
Well, they were like they were letting people like pay them to like put their reviews up. And,
that. Okay.
You know.
All right. I see what you're saying.
But that was like years ago. That was like many years ago. They stopped doing that like in 2007.
Yeah. That's a long time ago in internet years. So.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, like as press people, I guess we probably set up more new phones than most people.
Yes.
And so for that, like, it would be cool to just like hit the Google search bar and say like Google keyboard instead of having to open the Play Store and go through everything and wait for Google Play services to update and all that stuff that you normally need to do.
Oh, but Andrew, we wouldn't have that problem if we had an actual backup solution where we could, put our username into a new phone and just immediately have all of our apps be there.
Wasn't that supposed to happen? Haven't they like invented a solution for that problem 2 or 3 times?
But they do that to some degree, right?
To be fair to Google, I think they have a mechanism for it, and it's up to developers to use it. So there's your pain.
Yeah, I guess it's the difference between installing the apps and installing the apps with the data intact that you were used to having there. And if you want that data there, the developer actually has to create that.
See, Google needs to update their dev posters that they have. You know, those like posters, and I think they're on the Dead Zebra website. You can buy them and tell them like, put backup solutions in your apps and do all these other things that will make Flo and Andrew's lives easier as journalists who cover this thing, because that's what really matters.
That's the poster? That's a very specific poster, but
I guess I would buy it.
I know, of course, you two would buy it. Your name's on the poster.
You'd buy it too, Jason, to support us. I know you would.
Yeah, I'll hang it up in my office. I'll hang it up in my room. I can do that. Support.
Jeez.
Power to people. All right, what's up next, Flo?
Well, this next thing is something that I definitely could have used today as I was stuck in 2.5 hours of rainy traffic. Thanks, Bay Area. The new Maps update, Google Maps update, is getting even smarter now with a new mode called driving mode. You can use your web search history and location history, and Maps will deliver traffic updates and ETAs for places it thinks you might want to navigate to on an active navigation map with no destination.
I love it. I've been waiting for this for years. Seriously, I've been waiting for this for years.
I totally have so I actually use this on my way when I drive to the TWiT offices. You know, every Tuesday, my Google Now will pop up a card that tells me, traffic times on the way to HQ. And it's super helpful. And this is awesome because now when you're driving by places that you've been to before, maybe you want to stop off at that like falafel place that you love so much on your way to meet your parents.
Probably
you should show up with falafel because that
sounds really good.
Things go much more easy,
Yeah, so many times I've been driving around with Google, with my phone mounted, and I don't have a destination plugged in, but I want to do what they do in the navigation units where they just show you on the map moving around, and the only way to do that is to have a destination programmed in. Like, I just want like active view, like show me where I am and where I'm going for whatever reason because it's pretty, and now I can, so I'm very happy about that.
I still have one kind of tough time with like finding gas when I'm driving. Like that's the, and this is terrible to say this on air because CHP will probably see this, but sometimes I have to grab my phone and yell into it, find me the nearest gas station, and the thing it'll find me is actually like behind me instead of in front of me. You know what I mean?
That's the worst.
It's like, well, I'm not going to backtrack to go get gas. Like
that's like my big Google Maps request. Is like I live in New Jersey and I drive out to see my parents in Ohio like a couple times a year, and I want to be able to say like, I'm driving this route. I'm going to need gas in like 100 miles, or I'm going to want to eat at like 2:00. And I want them to find me stuff like along my route that I'll get to like at about that time. Like I want to be able to do that because right now I just like I have to grab. Well, I'm not driving when I do this. My wife would be driving, but I have to grab the phone off the dash and like start typing in just like restaurants or like road food or gas and just like hope that I can find something that's along the way. It's kind of irritating. So
now I started downloading like individual apps, like the 76 app, so I can find the nearest 76 station. And This is not good stuff to be doing when you're driving alone and you don't have any sort of like in-car navigation system.
You're downloading apps while you're driving? Like, oh.
Well, I have
Navigate.
Verizon, so I can download apps during like the apocalypse. But
that's when the Google search install from Google search thing would be really handy.
Right. Yeah, like Flow
true.
downloading APKs for emails and traffic. Yeah.
Don't do that, people. Don't do that, okay?
When you're sitting at the toll plaza, okay? It's boring. It's so boring.
I'm just saying, I can only speak for California traffic police, but they will pull you over even if you're at a full stop and you're using your phone, period.
I know.
I've had it happen.
Good for them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they have to act on what they see.
It's the right thing. It's an annoying thing, but it's the right thing.
Well, because you see so many people who are driving and they're just like,
oh.
Barbara was wearing blue eyeliner the other day, driving really fast in the carpool lane with no carpool.
Or it's, all you see is them on the side, right? And their hands on the wheel, and this is all you see.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst because you're like, what are you doing?
No.
You're looking at your lap right now while you're driving 65 miles an hour. Like, you could kill me.
It's like, I know what you're doing. Look up.
Yeah. Like the people with the glasses, and you can see like the reflection.
Yes, the little shinier.
You, buddy.
Exactly. We know what you're doing. We're on.
You can never get away with using your smartphone, by the way, in your car at night because the screen is like blue.
Glow.
Just don't do it. I've gotten very much in the habit of just pulling over when I absolutely need to do something. But
this is a PSA from All About Android.
There we go.
Don't drive and use your phone.
Flo's practices.
Unless you're really, really bored at the toll plaza.
Then and only then, maybe.
Just only then, and you're not moving.
All right, we have a voicemail, or I guess maybe not a voicemail, but it's a message of someone's voice recorded in audio format. It just wasn't left on our voicemail. So I don't know if that qualifies as voicemail. It was sent in through email. Whatever it is. Guy from Trinidad, go.
Hey, All About Android crew. I'm the guy from Trinidad here. Ron, I have a quick counterpoint to your conspiracy discussions about Google I.O. In the past, Google has had I.O. in May and in June. So it seems to me that they're not afraid to switch around the dates whenever it suits them. Also, if I'm booking a big event like that, I think I would do it sometime in advance. I mean, I don't know what Google's schedule is like or what they do, but I think they would, if they were motivated to find an indoor venue, I think they would think of a way to do it. I think this is simply a matter of Google having a plan that's going to be revealed in the coming weeks or months, and that it's less about not being able to get Moscone Center and more about whatever hidden agenda that they have. Of course, I could be totally wrong, but for me, I just don't see a big conspiracy theory about losing out to the Thoracic Center conference or whatever. Yeah, love the show. Love you, Ron.
But conspiracy theories are so much fun. That's why we talk about them.
I love his accent. I love your accent, by the way.
Marlon's a huge fan of the show. He's very active on Google Plus and in email and all that. So it's awesome to hear your voice, sir. So then, Andrew, if this was Google's intention all along to have an outdoor venue, what do you think you're going to see? Please tell me Boston Dynamics robots.
Yeah, either BattleBots, or I guess I had assumed it would be about their car stuff if it was going to be outside, because it is. I think they have wheeled cars into Moscone before, but it's harder to drive around on the stage
without killing people.
Yeah, right. But like the thing about that is that Google hasn't had like a really big, splashy, like new product oriented I/O since Google Glass, I don't think. The last couple of years, it's really been like back to basics, developer centric stuff. So yeah, I'm wondering if they're like going back to that era where they treated I/O as like a big platform for launching new things, or if it is just like, they couldn't get Moscone. I don't know.
Great, they're gonna give us all like Project Tango smartphones, and we're just gonna be out on lawns like
walking around with our
augmented reality
like this everywhere.
Yeah.
Either that, or we just get Oprah. Like they go full Oprah, and we all drive away with a Google Smart, like a self-driving car.
Please,
actually, that would be kind of annoying because I don't want to pay the taxes on that. Please don't. I don't need that. You ever have an Oprah?
That's a really good point. Not to mention, traffic to and from Shoreline Amphitheater already sucks.
Yeah.
Like really bad. If you're going to a concert to or from, you can expect hours waiting to get in and out. So if everybody got a Google car, it's game over. We'd never leave.
But I mean, if you got a Google car, you could just take a nap while you waited to leave.
That's true.
That's
it
also
would be a
very
good
true.
chance to demo that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy that we're getting to the root of this. I love that the conversation is more about Shoreline Amphitheater as a place rather than.
I know. I wonder how Shoreline Amphitheater's PR people are like, we need to tell them this place actually is pretty great. I mean, they have a lawn, so we could probably bring like some picnic blankets and like do a little Google I/O picnic, which quite honestly, I think that would be really cute. Like just to have a bunch of us just laying out on the lawn after writing a bunch of stories about Google I/O, just like sharing fried chicken.
But what are the developers doing? Are they out there also learning how to be developers, or are they just kind of hanging out in the sun?
I wonder if this year's Google I/O's theme is going to be like Hippie Hill. There's going to be like bongos
like
everywhere.
maybe they have all the
just
dev sessions in like in a little clearing in the woods.
Yes, like your shoes are not allowed. You have to take your shoes off.
Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going. Yeah.
Hey man, it's Google. I wouldn't
put it. It's the summer of code, man.
You better patent that before somebody takes that from you.
I'll just use it as the title instead. That's like patenting it. That's like a trademark in and of itself.
That's
isn't
true.
it? So we've got a few options. Hey, let's take a break before we get to the arena and talk about our app picks for the week and tell you about some delicious food. I know this because I've been delivered Blue Apron. I've received many Blue Apron boxes over the months, and they make me feel like I'm a better cook because they give you all the ingredients that you need to make some really cool stuff. You don't have to think about what you're going to make tonight, or even for the next couple of nights, because they send you this box. This is me unboxing probably about a year ago. My very first shipment from Blue Apron. They give you all these different ingredients, and those tie into some recipe cards that you're also given. They show you what all these pieces are used for. There's meats, vegetables, all the stuff that you need for the components to make up these recipes. And then you just you follow the step-by-step instructions. No recipe really takes any more than 30 to 40 minutes to cook. And it's just awesome food. It's delicious food. It's the kind of thing where you look at the recipe and you're like, I'm going to make this and it's going to look like the picture on the front. And then it ends up looking like the picture on the front. You feel very accomplished. And if you don't know how to cook, it's a great way to learn, because really it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it and just gives you exactly what you need, all portioned out. And you can just, it's like a cooking school in a box, quite literally. Lots of awesome dishes. Every week they kind of change out the offerings for what you can get. Italian beef grinders with aged cheddar cheese sauce and crispy potato wedges. This is where I get very hungry, by the way. Or acorn squash, Brussels sprouts, and farro salad with crispy pepitas and cranberry. I can't even say that word. Agrodolce. There we go. And that's the other part of this. You end up getting these ingredients that you've never heard of before. Maybe you've heard of them, but you can't find them in the grocery store very easily. Well, Blue Apron sends you those ingredients and then teaches you how to cook with them. Recipes are between 500 to 700 calories per portion, and it's delicious. It's good for you, and it's awesome. They have a family plan too if you have a family, for larger portions and kind of more family-friendly meals. Dang, I really needed to eat something before this show, apparently, because I'm starving right now, and that looks yummy. Right now, you can get your first 2 meals for free. Just go to blueapron.com/twit. Check out this week's menu and get your first 2 meals for free. All you got to do is go to blueapron.com/twit and check it out for yourself. And we thank Blue Apron for their support of All About Android and for continually making me hungry when I read your ads. Thank you for that.
Would you like a chocolate-covered blueberry?
Yes. Oh, wait a minute. You're all the way over there, and I can't.
Sorry.
Skype hasn't perfected the art of passing
Come on,
food through the internet.
Microsoft, get to it.
Yeah. It's going to happen someday, right? Like, is this going to happen someday?
Stick my hand into the computer, and then it comes out the other way, and
There will be a device that'll create. No,
I think
it's
that's
not.
like HoloLens 3, I think, is what that's planned for.
We'll never eat again. We'll eat with our eyes. Ugh. All right. Hey, why don't we jump into the arena and battle?
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Don't worry, Andrew. We're not actually going to battle. There are no fights in the arena. It's all
then
friendly.
Why
Not
am I even
between-
here?
Oh, sorry.
Usually the fight
I was
is
led to
between me
believe
and
there would
Ron.
be fighting.
You're going to bring it today. I'm scared now. Let's check in on last week's poll real quick before we get into this. AAApoll.com/248. Be quiet. I have not even looked yet.
Sorry. I haven't seen it yet. I'm just laughing because of last week's snafu,
Oh, man.
which I'm still getting tweets about.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We really didn't do a good job explaining it. I suppose at this point, damage is already done. Flo and I basically came to the arena with 2 apps that had already been done fairly recently. So we both missed it. Ron saved us.
He did. He really did. Ron's always looking out for us, man.
He warned us instead of us falling flat on our face midway through a review and going, "Oh, that's been done," and then we feel stupid. So instead, we felt slightly stupid, and we had backup apps, so it worked out. Mine lost
yours
horribly.
Oh, really?
Yes, 4%. But mine was not a good demo review. I'm just happy I had something to fall back on. I'm cool with that. Clipboard Actions wins with 49% of the vote.
Guys.
Journey second place at 27%, and Flow third place. But you actually scored pretty well, 21%. So
Stupid, cute little app. I'm actually getting. I'm getting some tweets from people that are saying like, "Hey, my kid really likes your app picks," and then I'm like,
okay.
"I'm choosing kid-friendly apps."
Well, there you go. Hey, you found your
Anyway.
calling. You found your calling.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at this week's app because I am the returning loser, as the rules state. Section 27, page 35. I have to go first. So my app is called Human. It's an activity tracker. It's actually an activity tracker that's been around for a while, I believe, years, but it's had some kind of nice redesigns that kind of changed the UI, and I just like the look of it. I feel like some of the functionality has a ways to go, but it's great where it's at right now, and it certainly looks a lot different from a lot of other activity trackers. So what you see here is kind of a map of where I've been today for the most part. It's a very different looking map. It's kind of hard to see on video because it's a kind of a dark with gray lines for all the areas around Petaluma and everything like that. Looks a lot more punchy in real life. That's my promise. But it kind of shows me a lot of the activity points that I've had throughout the last couple of days. If you live in a large enough city to have other people kind of participating in here, then you can kind of monitor your activity based, in comparison with other people. Unfortunately, in Petaluma, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of users. I'm sure if I was in San Francisco, I'd see a lot more. But I can tap in here and I can take a look step by step throughout the day what I've been doing. See this block from 12:20 to 12:39, I was stationary, all that stuff, just me kind of sitting down, and here's me walking for 2 minutes. It's very granular, I've noticed, is very, very granular when it comes to tracking how much it knows you're walking versus just kind of sitting in spot for a while. If you've been sitting there for a while, like today when I was kind of working on the doc for All About Android and for TNT, I don't think I got up for like a couple of hours, and it finally gave me a little notification on my watch that said, "Hey, why don't you go for a walk? Just go out and stretch your legs. Go for a little walk." Of course, I did not because I'm busy. But anyways, it does that. And if you want to listen to it, you can. So it's kind of an interesting way to visualize. You can kind of see, it has a little bit of the map integration and everything, and it ties into Google Fit. So, you can set goals essentially on how much activity you want in any given day. And I don't know, it's just kind of a neat way to visualize it. Look, I'm a novice. It does think that I cycle, but I do not. I think maybe, I don't know if that's like pulling in from when I'm driving or what, but need to maybe work on that a little bit. But I'm a walking hero, so that's good. And, you know, it kind of gives you some overall stats and everything. So you can kind of see it's a good starting point, which for an app that's been around for a long time, I think maybe with a redesign, there's just some functionality. It feels like there's some functionality and maybe some support that's maybe missing as far as like other users. I really wanted to like open it up and get a larger geographical space and be like, include San Francisco and see that. And I couldn't figure out a way to do that. Maybe they'll include that. But I don't know. I like the look of it, and I feel like it has a lot of potential where it's at right now. It's called Human Activity Tracker. It is free, and you know, check it out. See if you can kind of compete with other people in your area as far as moving around and all that kind of stuff. But
And so that works with Android Wear when you're saying that you're getting notifications to get up and walk around.
I got a Wear notification. Yeah, that
that's
said I needed to
nice.
get up. So
I wish that Android Wear had that, like the Apple Watch. Quite honestly,
you want the
it'd be
Apple
nice.
Watch stand up every 5 minutes to every top of the hour?
Well, I don't know, but
Maybe smarter than that.
The UA band does like if I don't get up for an hour, then it says, "Hey, you've been sitting for 60 minutes. You need to get your butt up." So
Yeah.
it's nice to be reminded.
Yeah, then you got to listen to it. That's the other part. I just
Well,
disregarded
you could
it. I was
die.
like, no, I'm not going walking right now. Are you kidding? I've got a show to get together. Jeez, go away.
You walked across the studio.
Yeah, I mean, I walk around here. I go get a snack, you know. I don't think that's the kind of walking that a human wants me to do.
Right.
Walk to the snack cupboard. Andrew, I will show off the app that you have for today. And if you want to tell everybody why you like it, what it's all about.
Cool. So like the one that you showed off, mine is not new, but I have been using it for a while and I like it a lot. It's called Eye in Sky Weather, not Eye in the Sky, but Eye in Sky. Now, as you can see here, like the app itself is pretty slick. It's got different tabs for like the hourly forecast, for the day forecast. You can swipe up there and see like a current conditions screen from like the main pane, like swipe up right now. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's it.
And
okay.
Yeah, and like see sunrise, sunset, that kind of stuff. I mean, some of the menus are a little like Kit Kat-ish. Like it's maybe not like the most beautiful app in the whole world. What I really like about it are the widgets. And I don't know if my camera is like good enough to like demonstrate what they look like. But
okay, you show it.
Yeah, I use them in. I use this on my home screen in like most of the Android reviews that I write, and I get a ton of email just like asking what it is. And they've got a couple different sized ones. You can use like different icons, different colors, and just customize them. And they're really minimalist and slick looking.
Right.
And I
Sorry.
like them a lot.
Sorry, Andrew is showing the widgets.
It's cool. I can
Here, show me again.
Here we go. All right. So like here's the main one. I'm trying to get like focus here. No, totally fine.
There we go.
And then like here's one with like crazier colors, and then below it is like the small one. And they're really customizable. I think the icons are really really stylish and cool looking, and I think it's a nice looking weather widget.
Nice. No, I remember Eye in Sky, and I was like, man, we must have had that in the arena before because that's been around for a while. And then did the search, and sure enough, not there. So that is
I know.
A great weather pick. So there we are. It's Eye in Sky Weather, and yeah, I like it. Kind of has like a nice dark theme quality to it. Brian, were you all snuggled up with a pillow over there?
Falling asleep at the controls? No, not quite. I was putting out other fires that I had going on.
I gotcha.
They were all good now.
All right.
We still have another 2 hours to go, right?
Yeah, no, but we're just getting started. This is the first hour of 3.
Well, if you guys need more hours.
Yeah? No. Okay.
We talk about this Twitter fight that my friends and I are having with Jason Priestley right now. I'm sorry, this is really terrible. I should admit that. Anyway.
Well, somehow Jason Priestley made it on the show today. Didn't think that was going to happen. You could talk for 2 hours about your app, which I'll show off for you.
I could. And actually, we could use it for the next 2 hours to help me relearn Spanish. So I am, of course, going to MWC next month, which is in Barcelona. And I speak Romanian fluently. And that kind of really helps me with Spanish in life. And so I understand Spanish pretty well, but speaking it, I get very bashful. I lose I forget some verbs, I forget some common words.
I didn't log in.
So I started looking for an app that could help me sort of get back into the swing of things with the Spanish language. Something that's like flashcards that I could just look at every day and practice the pronunciation. Yeah. So this app is called Busuu, that's the way I pronounce it. It's a language learning app, and there's several different languages that you can learn, including Italian, French, and such. But I'm using it for Spanish.
Hola.
It's ridiculously simple. It's not like, actually, it's a little bit like Duolingo. And a little bit like Rosetta Stone, just in terms of interface. But I like it because I can just drop in and drop out of lessons without sort of following any trajectory, because I don't need to learn how to say like good morning and she and him and like some of the simple conjugation of verbs. I want to get into the more like nitty gritty of verbiage and nouns. And so that's why I like Busuu. It just lets you, go in and choose a lesson you're going to do. It reminds you to practice every day, which is good. All you need is like 5 to 10 minutes a day to sort of get yourself resituated with words, with, basic vocabulary and grammar. There's audio dialogues that you can use with it. You can submit practice exercises where native speakers can help you perfect your skills too. And that's a thing that you can get with a Rosetta Stone type of language learning suite. And you can set your own personalized goals. So if you want to tell it like, I need to learn this much by this time, you can set that up to make it happen. So it's Busuu. It's just super easy language quizzing. Encantado.
Backwards. I didn't mean the can.
So it looks like it's more focused on teaching you like phrases and like basic stuff you can use right away, rather than going through and teaching you like, okay, here's how you conjugate a verb. Here's the difference between like masculine and feminine nouns.
Yeah, it's not a super like serious language learning program. Like if you were really trying to learn a new language, I would not suggest this. However, for somebody like me who speaks 2 languages, one of which is a Romance language, and kind of understands Spanish. Like I can understand it pretty dang well when I'm overseas, but I get so bashful when I try and speak it, and I forget verbs and things like that too and what they mean. So this is a really nice refresher course, and it's a lot more interactive than just picking up a Lonely Planet quiz book or whatever.
Yeah, and it looks like it'd be useful. Like even if you weren't familiar with the language, it looks like it'd be helpful for people who are like traveling and wanted to know like how to avoid dying in the street from starvation.
Very basic.
Yeah.
And so like, for instance, right now I'm on lesson 7 and I'm going through objects and possessive pronouns. Eventually I'll do lesson 11, which is at the bar.
Oh yeah, get there. You know you want to get there.
To lesson 11. Like what lesson is all the swear words? Is that like lesson 3?
That's a secret one. Up, down, left, right.
Una gin and tonic, por favor.
Well,
actually, make that dos gin and tonics, por favor. Oh, these are the really hard ones, by the way. This is the one that I don't like doing because you have to hear the conversation, and then in the next page, you're going to fill in the blanks.
Oh, God.
So when you hit continue. Yeah.
So many words. So much
audios.
Dialogue. So
Continue.
God.
You had to remember everything that they were saying.
What?
You can go back and look at it, but anyway.
How can you just dump all that stuff on me, fresh brain to Spanish? Well, this is my first time with Spanish, but still doing a show.
Yeah, that's why I would not suggest this for noobs. Pure language noob.
It's challenging. I'll give it that. I like the design of it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of the flashcard and all the.
It reminds me of I didn't want to do Duolingo. I just wasn't. That's just like so committed, and I don't want to do something super committed. This reminds me of my high school Spanish class lessons, like the kind of little interactive things that we would do in Spanish class, and that helped me ace 3 years of Spanish. So.
I just found at the bar. I'm going to learn the important stuff.
At the bar, tienes una cerveza?
Oh.
Me encanta este bar. Tiene una amplia selección de cervezas. There's a very ample selection of beer.
Right. And they love that bar.
That was a harsh reality dropping into this one category, and they start with one of these.
Yeah, a lot of them are like that. But, I like it because it challenges me. Because then I'm like, oh, crap. Because let me tell you, if you start speaking to a person in Spain, a little bit of Spanish, they'll just roll with it, man. They'll just roll with it. And you're just like...
They're like, oh, okay, here we go.
Hold on, let me get out my Google Translate. You say to them in English. And then you show them this phone. Anyway, I may or may not have done that in real life before.
Whatever you got to do to get by, man.
Yeah, just bring Google
There's
Translate.
This, really cute guy, and he was talking to me, and I couldn't really speak Spanish fast enough, so I busted out my Google Translate, and I just started anyway.
That's at least you have Google Translate there to save you in situations.
No, I know, but it's so embarrassing to sit there and to just be like,
okay, and here you go.
Un momento, por favor. Speak, and then you have this robot voice that's speaking for you.
No. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what language that was.
You sounded like Murloc Murloc from World of Warcraft.
Probably something like that, or a Sim speaking Simlish. Or something.
Yeah, I think it was Simlish.
Yeah. Let's see here. All right, so great app, by the way. That is language learning by Busuu, Busuu.
Yes. You could download the whole app, or you could download the individual languages, whatever you need.
Nice. All right, so place your vote. I somehow got the poll together last minute here. AAApoll.com/249 is the place to go to vote for your favorite app this week. Is it Human? Is it Eye and Sky Weather? Or Language Learning by Busuu? Check it out. We will we'll check in on the results next week, as we usually do. What are you going to do, Ryan? What are you going to do? What are you going to vote for? Huh, Brian? Huh? Oh, hey, it's pretty even across the board for the most part. It's early.
Ryan wants to learn Spanish. That's why.
Yep, that's why.
So he can come to Barcelona with me.
¿Dónde está el biblioteca?
El Zapateria. Where's the shoe store? Andrew, are you going to be at Barcelona?
I am not going to be, actually. We've got some people in the UK this year who live there who are gonna hop over and cover it. So,
are you bummed?
Bad in some ways, but I don't have to fly across the ocean this close to CES, so I'm not too upset.
Oh please,
about it,
you're only 6-hour flight. I'm in 9-hour and change. Actually, more than that, 12 hours.
Have fun, sucker.
See ya. Andrew, it's been such a pleasure getting you on the show. We had to have you back.
That would be great. I would love that.
Really appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell people a little bit about kind of your work at Ars Technica. You cover a little bit of Android. You cover a little bit of iOS. What are you working on there? What can you tell people about?
Yeah, I'm running the review section these days. So I do a little bit of everything. I try to keep up on Android and iOS and Windows and OS 10. I do a lot of reviews mainly, and then I also write about the chips and stuff that power all these cool devices. So that's me.
Right on. You're at Andrew Writes on Twitter.
Correct. Yes.
I want to follow you there. And what am I looking at? Oh.
A lot of Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
We're looking at Andrew's room.
Yeah, here it is. I've cleaned out
Enhance.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I went to the Nintendo store and I spent more money than I care to talk about on Nintendo plushies. And I absolutely did not.
Who is that little action figure there in the corner?
That's an Obama bobblehead that my mom got me in 2008. Yeah.
Bobblehead.
Yes.
Very nice. All right, and that is our segment. What's on Andrew's desk? Thanks again, Andrew. We'll have you back soon, and we're always watching and reading, so we'll check you out. You're
always watching and reading.
That's right, we're there, like Ceiling Cat. Sorry, it's a little weird. Flo, what about you? What are you up to?
Same old, just working every day. Today, they dragged me to the gym to do this video for the HTC Under Armour band. I had to lift kettlebells. I don't know what that has to do with the band, but It's coming soon next week. I was supposed to have the review sooner, but well, you'll find out when you read my review what happened.
All right.
And you can stay tuned for that.
When is that posting? Next week, you said?
Yeah, next week. I realized, why am I pimping something that I can also just pimp again next Tuesday? But this is
We're
what I'll be
making
working
an
on this
announcement
week.
of the announcement.
So, yeah, I'm working at greenbot.com.
I know.
Or follow me on Twitter, where me and my friends are getting angry at Jason Priestley for whatever reason.
Oh, that flow on Twitter. If you want to get in on that Twitter feed. Brian, what about you,
I
sir?
fight with men or to know alumni.
Yes,
Sorry.
exactly.
Well, when I'm not doing this show, I've got a how-to show with Padre I do on Thursdays and on Mondays now. Unfortunately, though, I'm going to be gone next week, so I don't know what who's going to be covering for me.
I don't know if it's going to be Mac and Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is next week the Tuesday?
Yeah.
The Tuesday?
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, next Tuesday. That's actually good memory, because we can basically mention that here. So Megan Maroney is going to be out next Tuesday, which has me doing Tech News Today and All About Android.
Oh.
And I thought, okay, well, I need 2 guests on Tech News Today. How about we do an All About Android Invades Tech News Today? So that is a crazy day, because I after figuring it out, realized, oh, so we're going to be creating 2 shows, all of us together. And I'm sorry, that means that I'm pulling you guys into that craziness too. But and you have jobs, so we'll figure it out. We'll make it work.
It'll be, you know what? I think it'll just be fun, just us being like,
what are we going to do?
what are we doing? I don't know. I'll bring chocolate-covered blueberries.
All right. Sounds good. Please bring those. That's next Tuesday. It should be kind of a crazy day. I'm sure by the end of All About Android, we'll be drunk or something, because that's the only way we're going to make it through. Really.
It brings some.
But that is it. Oh, you can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. YellowGoldMusic.com for my music. I should make a mention here that we actually have a new kind of a newsletter that we're doing here at Twit. All the happenings on the Twit network. You should subscribe. You should check it out. You can go to twit.tv/newsletter. You can find out all about our shows as they post kind of some of the, the big moments, what we're looking forward to, neat interviews coming up, all that kind of stuff. Just all the haps of the Twit studio. So check it out, twit.tv/newsletter. But that is it for this week. Thank you so much, as always, for watching All About Android, or listening, probably more likely listening. Leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. You can send us an email at AAA@twit.tv. We are on Twitter. We are at Android Show there. We've got a subreddit. It's twitaaa.reddit.com. Of course, we are on Google Plus with our community. Lots of people pitch in there. Just search for it. And show notes and past episodes found at twit.tv/AAA. And check it out. That's our home on the web. Catch us live every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, twit.tv/live. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, guys.
Bye.